Hi, I'm Megan, and for those of you who don't know me and why I'm doing these videos, for the past 8 years I've been trying to tell my story and trying to get someone to help me, but it hasn't been working out. So hopefully, with a little bit more information and some more, give, these videos will go viral, and it will produce probably my dream of, hopefully, just experiencing being in the movies and on television. So I would please, please have you watch these and help me make these go viral. Thank you. So this second part of my story is the not so pleasant work experiences in Northern California, where I was born and raised. So the two jobs I had that one would think might be exciting, places to work, were the local sports complex for a Major League Baseball team, an NFL team, and an NBA team, and the local ice rink. So now the first one I'm going to start with is the sports complexes. Now, when your team's record, let's just say both NFL, the Raiders and the Oakland A's, is way below 500, and the fans drink and they boo more than cheer, the number of fights in the stands for Raider games, you know this is not a positive work environment to be in. When your baseball team has days where all the day camps come, like Little League days, and when high schools can't afford to come to games at night with about one or two chaperones. One night, your spot is at the top of the coliseum at a night game for the Oakland A's, and you see two high schoolers walking around with their pants on the ground trying to get on the jumbotron. They're just attention. It's like, for those of you who probably know, it was like before YouTube. Like jumbotron was the YouTube. So anyway, so I caught them, and I got one of the security guards, and we brought him down, and they went into the local cage, the pokey as they call it, on NYPD Blue. Anyway, so after that, and then the other thing is, then the other thing that I saw was the team decides to make an alcohol-free section where families don't have to worry about other patrons who are wasted. The patrons who come to drink and don't want to watch the games, they get very mad when they are told they're sitting in a section that is alcohol-free. Then the other thing I saw was when I had one of the breaks I had, there was a guy behind a snack stand who worked there. He was filling an empty plastic mayonnaise jar, the ones that you get at Costco, with beer. And in the 8th inning, the keg stopped, flowing. They can't sell beer anymore because that's when a lot of fights happen, is in the 8th inning, because a lot of people drink. So you notice the guy behind the snack stand. He's filling up an empty plastic mayonnaise jug with beer for two women who are waiting for him to pass it and pay him money. All the while, it is the 8th inning, and that's when all the alcohol stops being sold. How about checking fans at the baseball games trying to sneak in contrabands, like glass bottles, beer cans, soda cans, and hard liquor? And the reason why they ban that is because people will throw that stuff at each other, causing great harm to, the head, and people get cut and all this kind of stuff. So, then the other thing is that when you're checking people at the gate, they will try to hide these items in blankets, like for out, when you're at the A's games, and when it's hot outside, like those are on like cool nights they'll do it with the blankets, and then um, and during the summer, like summer evenings, they'll like they'll hide them in their shorts. I swear I saw this. This guy had he hid all these cans in his shorts. It was sort of funny to the security staff who I was working with, because they had also stopped him, and they said, no, you need to like really look at this. So, but the thing is that this guy, the way to town is the way they're walking. Is if they're walking like someone who has like tight pants on or something, and they're like walking like they have to go to the bathroom, or they look like they're in a western, um, like chaps on, some weird walk. Then they're hiding something in their pants. So anyway, but that's what happened to me, and I saw it with my own two eyes. Yes, I swear, I swear. It's one of the experiences, one of the events I saw. And then they bring beach-sized coolers that can't fit underneath their seats. They had got that. In the NBA, when the arena was finished being remodeled, they added more seats, and yes, more bars. Another alcohol-related experience. So the time when I stopped a patron whose seat was not in the MVP area, but came back in the middle of the game, hammered. I'm talking hammered. And I told him he needed to leave, or I would get my supervisor and the security. And he said that they said he could stay. And what happened is the person who owned the bar inside the club, where you can go in and get food and then walk out, where and then sometimes people will order food because they'll have like wait staff that come down and down by the floor, so people don't have to walk all the way up and then walk all the way down. So because the reason why the bar owner said yes was because the guy would pay for all the drinks. I mean, he was paying tons and tons of money for the drinks. So he put myself at risk, and not only that, but he put my section at risk. So I was not happy at the end of the night after that shift. No way. So the bar guy got club wanted him to stay because he could keep spending the money, not just on the beer, but the expensive beverages as well. Like at the expense of me trying to keep my section safe, and that's what I really had pride in, my section being safe. There was one highlight to that night, and it was near the end of the evening. I got to meet Vida Blue. He used to play baseball, and he was seated in my section. I had just kicked out some seat jumpers who were in his seats, and he said to me, "You're doing a good job." He knew I had a bad night. Strange enough, decades later, now this is weird. Okay, this is the part where my story has connections to athletes and politicians and actresses. So, and this is one of the athletes. So he knew I had a bad night. Strange enough, decades later, my father and mother met him on the golf course at Richmond Country Club. I kid you not. And the way it goes is that my father had just teed off from the tee, and he went down to go get his ball, and he saw a guy down, at the on the green, trying to, put his ball in. So he goes down, and then my mom hits her ball, and that ball comes so close to the guy's ball, And my dad sees the guy, playing. He goes, "Hi." He goes, "Wow, who hit that shot?" He goes, "Oh, that's my wife." And it was Vita Blue at uh, finishing up his finishing up the hole that he had started. So pretty neat, huh? So anyway, but so the next part of this is the coveted giveaways. Um, that day, when the food staff got them, but not the people who spent 5 hours in the sweating in the sweltering summer heat, dealing with fans who complained the baseball bats were ugly, and others got more than more than one because they purchased more than one ticket. Then there was the giveaway from hell, which I call, and the Beanie Baby Nightmare, I call it. Again, people bought more than one ticket, picked up their giveaway, and did not stay for the game. Others got there late, and the things were gone. No gate had them, but then you couldn't get them from all. At the main entrance we had crowd barriers. They were spread out wide, but then when people started coming up to us to complain that they didn't get one, not only they were late due to traffic, but were confused to where to go when to get them, which gate to go. By Bart were out. The ones by Bart were out, and had said to come to the gates by the parking lot. We told them, we're out, and sorry, it was for the first 20,000 people that come early. Uh, we'll only get them. The game was sold out. About 50,000 fans there, and it wasn't enough for that many people. So the crowd barriers got smaller, and the guys who I worked with at the gate that day wanted myself and another usher to leave because ticket holders were not leaving until they got their giveaway. Kids were crying, parents were yelling and asking to see a manager, and screaming and wanting to see the manager, which I already said. And I'm telling you, and how funny how things kind of come back. The the CEO of the Thai Beanie Babies, he's under tax evasion, in trouble. Ha! So stick it to you. Back to you, Mr. Beanie Nightmare. Oh, anyway, so the ice skating rink. Set behind the main street in Oakland, California, where there's a lot of traffic, but no one would know there is one if they had asked someone who worked there. You would think, wow, what a great place to work. You see professional ice skaters like Chrissy Yamaguchi, Brian Boitano, Sarah Bonelli, Rudy Galindo, Katarina Witt. It's a good place to be in the summer because it's cold inside. And when Nash Bridges came to film in and outside of the rink, you have to stand by while what you really wanted to be where you really wanted to be is to be one of the extras, but they shoot at night, so that wouldn't have worked for me. But anyway, um, and you hear that Don Johnson is a hothead. He would always drink and show up late and all this kind of stuff. But it turns out that the crew is more fun, and they're really the stars. So I took pictures with them, and they're really nice. So and Don Johnson would keep the crew and the extras waiting. And I learned that you realize that the crew is more fun and they take pictures. So I did that. They become the celebrities in their own right. When the movie The Matrix came to film, and I waited, and I saw myself in one of them. So that was pretty cool. But anyway, here is the bad of working at the ice rink. After the first day on the job, I found out that morning a body of one of the parking lot attendants was found lying on the ground And in the years that I worked and followed, I worked there, I witnessed a mugging in daylight. Four big guys got out of a red Jeep and jumped a guy. An elderly man who had just came in to look with his friend was also mugged, pants ripped and bloodied in the front where he kept his wallet. The time kids walked out the front door with one of the skaters' bags in broad daylight. This is what happened. These kids, they came in. Um, one distracts the cashier, and the other walks around looking for wallets, unattended suitcases that would have their skates, and for the hockey players and the figure skaters. There's cell phones, disc players, iPods, DVDs, CDs. They would go through office doors that are unlocked. The hockey bags. They would steal the sticks. They would steal the rental skates. One of my friends, who's a skater, had her car broken into by a black male in broad daylight, right in front of her. And he used, well, I'm not going to say what it is because then someone's going to get the wrong idea. But anyway, security was very iffy. They started out with security, and then when I left, they had none. They had Muslim guys from your black Muslim bakery, the one that the Youssef that yeah, that was involved in murdering the KTVU reporter. That's the one. So before, and they were dressed in suits and ties. Before 9/11, they were letting people and things slip by. By the time I was let go, the only security we could count on and called was the police, the video cameras, and staff and parents. Twice I witnessed robberies taking place. One time the rink was graced with traffic, people coming in and out to skate, signing up for classes, making reservations for birthday parties. I was the cashier at the time, and before I held the position of assistant manager. More on that after this, or probably be another time. It's still here. Okay, so let's see. I'm helping a customer who puts her wallet to the side to the register for a birthday party in skate school. There are three people who are black, and again, but this time gender. One of whom looks antsy and smiling. I say, wait, I'll be right with you. He or she runs up to the counter and takes the woman's wallet right in front of her and myself, and her kids and others waiting in line. They never caught them because down the street was a gay and lesbian transgender club that protected their own and did not want to help a mother who provides for her kids to experience things like ice skating. The other was on Halloween. Someone dressed as Casper the Friendly Ghost rolls in on rollerblades, waves at me, and goes through the rink, up the office of the manager, and leaves with his laptop. We know it was one of our employees, whom after returning from a trip to New Orleans was different in the way he interacted with us and paying public. He was eventually let go. When I was offered a position with the rink, they had two cashier and office assistants. After a while, I started out as cashier, then worked my way to assistant manager, only to be knocked back down to cashier when my boss was in Europe. The powers that be moved in, took over her office, and one day when she called, I was instructed not to say anything, so I acted like nothing was wrong. When she came back, she too was demoted. She left. I learned it was because the books weren't adding up right, and strangely enough, I was done in by almost the same issue, money. I never stole. They claimed it was the economy, but it was really a racial one, because they brought in a stranger, a bald white guy whose name he had called him by, who had called him by Bobby. We learned later, after doing a little profiling of our own, was not his name, nor did he have an airplane hangar in Alameda that he claimed to be his own. He also flirted with the moms of the ice skaters and hockey players. After I left, he had left as well. One of my friends who I had worked with came in a month or two before I was let go, told me that when the guy named Bobby was coming back, he had talked to the manager to finalize things, and the manager said, "Oh, no, you're not coming back." And what happened was, when people heard he was coming back to work, they were so mad. Not just because he's flirting with the moms of the figure skaters and hockey players, but because he had let me go with the support of the person who keeps the books and does payroll and the hockey coach. Some of my friends went to the general manager and said, "If you bring him back, we will go to the media," and he did not return. It turns out that his name wasn't Robert, nor did he ever own an airplane hangar in Oakland Airport, and also we couldn't find his name on any of the Canadian Football League rosters to prove he played. So, because he was going on and on about his days in Canadian football, well, it was all sort of weird. So one day he came in with some memorabilia that he supposedly signed himself, we think, and he said, "Look, tell your friends, here is proof that I played in the CFL." The general manager, the GM, who was new when I had interviewed and started, never once introduced himself to the customers or the parents who shelled out tons of money for their kids to be better skaters and hockey players. He also played solitaire in his office. If you ask me, he should have been the first one fired. So he also gave into the power of the almighty dollar over the safety of his staff, patrons, and regulars. He okayed having a rave, not once but twice. After the first one was a success, then the second became more a liability than one of the profitable. It attracted gangs, drug dealers. There was the type that thought they were good fellas, but were actually bad. They would come in. When you tried to stop them, they would either keep on walking or give you a look to back off, or I'll kill you. And I swear, this is what happened to me. One day, when I had finished my shift and walked out the door to go to Gold's Gym, two guys followed me until two employees who I worked with stopped them. One of the followers threatened me. "I'm sick of her. I am going to kill that bitch." When I went to the GM, and it was then decided that one of the employees would walk me to the bus stop. My first and last boss, my rise and fall. When I was offered a position at the rink again, there were two cashier positions and an administrative assistant. I chose the administrative assistant, but I was a cashier, because I had been cashier for a snack bar at my college. I'd been there, done that. My boss was very nice. Anything I needed or had a problem with, a new employee, let's say I kind of got what I wanted, but when I accepted the position, I started the same week my family was going to Hawaii. And so I told her that, and she had been a little unwilling to work with me. And I said, "Oh, I'll bring you back something." And I brought her back some tea and some things. Then, okay. So when I came back, I had a job to go to. Little did I know, she would be the first one to go. Some of the stuff has been repeated. But when she left for a vacation to Europe, the conspiracy started. The mother of one of the employees was summoned to the GM's office. Then they went to my boss's office, took all of her stuff out, then told me, "If she calls, don't say anything again." So I did. When she came to, she was demoted and I was demoted. I said to her before she left that they find another cashier because I was not getting any of my work done. I had to consistently be up front. The GM told me that they were 86ing my position that I had worked so hard for. I went from assistant manager to cashier in 2 years of starting. I mean, it was a hard, it was a hard experience to go through. But what I really got out of it was the parents were behind you all the way, and and the kids were really great. But that's what I took away from it, and I got to meet wonderful people like Chris Yamaguchi, um, Rudy Galindo. He bought me a bagel, which is awesome, and it was at the same time about Will and Grace. So that was just fantastic. Um, and I actually got to meet Katarina Witt, and the way that happened is that Chris Yamaguchi introduced Katarina to me. I'm like, wow. I mean, I almost just passed out. Oh, I couldn't believe it. And I met Brian Botano, and he's so nice. He's just the nicest guy you'll ever meet. Anyway, and then there was the bathroom and the racial issue. When people came in to use the restroom, this is still at the Oakland Ice Center, and they either used it the way you're supposed to, or smoked pot, or used it as an excuse to case the joint. It turned out the toilets were always clogged, costing lots of money in toilet paper and plumbers. When it was decided that no one can use them, it was for customers only. People of color became extremely infuriated, and I was called names. Even after the fact, when I was let go, one of someone probably had recognized me, and I had said no, he couldn't use the restroom. But so I was sitting at the bus stop, and it was, I mean, dude, I'm not stupid. I know what you're talking about. So it was just trying to get me angry, kind of to scare me, but it didn't scare me because I didn't work there anymore anyway. So it's, I was called cracker and all, names, and it's awful, very, very awful. Um, so the pot clubs is what next. The location of the rink was adjacent to pot clubs that were filled with this file that were filed with the city under a different name and purpose papers. By the time I left, there were 25 of them. Some had guards standing outside. The people who would go in did not look ill or elderly. Every year, college kids and teens would come down with fake ideas or find someone who would buy the stuff and walk out with it in a big brown paper lunch bags, and they would keep going back and forth. And what they would also do is take their grandparents down for lunch, and as an excuse, and so they would make their grandparents get them the stuff, the marijuana, pot, whatever you want to call it. So and that is my work experiences from California. So please make this video viral. That would really help me a lot. I think it can be helpful to probably someone. But I thank you, and have a good weekend, and God bless you, and I hope this all works out. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.